I would think that if those are the things that trigger something like sleep paralysis, hallucinations, and that there's no reality to what's happening or anything like that, I would think that that would happen with everyone who gets no sleep and is stressed out all the time. I should be hallucinating nonstop all the time forever because I am stressed out all the time and I get next to no sleep as well. Why does it happen for some people and not for others?
I don't think it's as simple as that. I just think certain people are more susceptible to it. In this case, though, people will say after certain psychedelics.
I have a nice story that didn't really fit into our sleep paralysis episode that came out a few weeks ago. And mainly that was a time crunch, and this one was a little bit longer. So I figured, I was like, I'll save it for a bonus story video. It'll be fine. So we're going to get into that. And it is by Tracy Kahn. It says, my first experience was when I was 19 or 20 in college, and 3 days after being terrified in the theater watching The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's been a while since I've seen that one. I will never forget the experience. I wake up, so I thought, and looked at the clock. It was 3 a.m. exactly. Uh-oh. Can't have that. Bad start.
The hour of the wolf.
The hour of the wolf, as Christian says. I felt a looming, very dark, evil presence in my room and realized I was completely paralyzed, with the exception of my head. This is part of the hallucination, if you will. I now know that in all actuality, I was hallucinating being able to move my head and look around the room. Kind of weird. Haven't heard that before in a sleep paralysis story.
That's okay. I'll be quiet for a minute.
It's weird that you can have a sleep paralysis experience and then be like, I was completely paralyzed, but I could hallucinate moving my head.
I feel like hallucinate is sometimes the wrong word to use for sleep paralysis, but I get where they're going.
Maybe it was like an astral thing, like the astral head could move, and so you could see it, but you thought you were hallucinating. Who knows?
That just goes to show you maybe you don't need your eyes to see.
Astral eyes, we're back again. Then it started. I had a lovely white, extremely fluffy white down comforter, pulled all the way up to my chin. I felt the extreme pressure on my chest. I felt something pushing me into my bed, suffocating me. When I looked down, I saw a huge impression in my comforter where I felt the pressure, and saw it getting deeper, pushing me down further. I tried to scream when I heard the bed springs squeak under me as whatever this thing was pushed and pushed. I couldn't speak. The best I could get out was hushed gargling, and then felt like there was pressure on my neck, choking me. I can't express how deeply terrified I was. I couldn't move a single muscle in my body. My arms felt like they were too heavy to lift. I couldn't sit up, despite trying with every bit of strength I had. I, at the time, considered myself agnostic, atheist, whatever college students who think God is for stupid people say that they are, and I actually thought there was a demon on my chest trying to either kill me or possess me. Ooh,
it's true.
Sobering. Very sobering if you're a...
It's called an incubus or a succubus.
It's not.
Depending on your preference.
We got ourselves a foxhole moment here. I thought it would never end, and it seemed to last forever. They're still choking me to this very day. No. And then I felt myself close my eyes, and the thing was gone. I said my roommate's name to see if I could speak again, and I could. I looked down at my comforter, and there was no trace of anything unusual. I immediately jumped out of my bed, hysterically crying, trembling, and scared the shit out of my roommate when I woke her up this way. I spent the rest of the night sleepless in her bed. I was completely traumatized, and so was my roommate. I traumatized my roommate, but I was traumatized by a sleep demon. And then the next day, this happened.
The cop showed up because of how she traumatized the roommate?
You would think, but no. There's a picture of her and her roommate in the same room. They moved their beds next to each other to form this weird ultra bed. Smart move. That's thinking.
Just go to church, man.
There you go. Just go to church, man.
It'll solve everything.
She says, yep, that's me in my bed that I moved right next to my roommate's. I'm a big baby. But so was she, so it was okay. It stayed this way until the end of the year. We moved her desk into my room and made it the office. I couldn't sleep in my room alone again. I didn't experience another attack for about a year, but the next time it happened a lot. Each experience was a bit different. During that first phase of episodes, I experienced violent shaking in my bed to wake up to a dark figure standing to the right of my bed, physically shaking it. Now that'd be something to see. You just wake up and there's a ghost like, oh, you're up. Hey, what's up? It's me. It's your boy.
You're going to be late for work.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be helpful. Which I do have videos on helpful poltergeists coming out at some point, which is very strange stories. Some real Casper energy. Anyway, so I experienced violent shaking in my bed to wake up to a dark figure standing to the right of my bed, physically shaking it. Another time I felt my bed turning over and felt myself sliding off or being pulled off along with my covers and not being able to hold on and keep myself from sliding due to the paralysis. That'd be creepy. No thanks. Other times, I felt like I was being held in whatever position I woke up in and was having a seizure. Now I tend to experience a lot of these at once, along with a floating feeling where I can't move myself, but I'm being lifted or parts of me are being lifted by something else. I see things moving and shaking often. Tonight I woke up in the position where I was looking at a chandelier above and to the right of my bed and felt like my head was being pushed that direction by whatever was to the left of my bed, but I couldn't direct my eyes to whatever it was. It was just out of vision. But as I looked at the chandelier, it was swinging back and forth. I had the seizure sensation in my whole face and my upper body was being lifted up and down. Oh, and I thought it was storming outside. It wasn't. Every episode I try to scream. I don't exactly know why.
Are they a listener?
Are they a listener?
Every episode they try to scream?
Yeah, they listen to us now. I hate this. Why? Why? Stop. Why? God, please, why? Yeah, Michael Scott energy. Anyway. Oh, and I thought it was storming outside. It wasn't. Every episode I try to scream. I don't exactly know why, as at this point I know good and well nothing more than a faint gurgle will come out, but it's not something I can control. The panic completely consumes me. The hallucinations in that moment seem as real as can be. I stay quite scared and lonely for a while after, and almost exhausted from trying to fight the paralysis and panic. I continue to see shadows and think things are moving around me a few minutes following, and the looming feeling tends to stick around for a moment as well. For me, these episodes happen in phases, due to stress and lack of sleep for the most part. When I do experience an isolated incident, it is usually on a night I've had a lot of trouble falling asleep, as was the case tonight.
First off, too much sugar before bed or alcohol.
But see, like, and even with at the end there, you know, she mentions being, having kind of isolated incidents and stuff. But when it happens in phases and there's a lot of it, it's due to lack of sleep or stress or whatever. And I would think, and I get that people are different, but maybe we can get your take on this. I would think that if those are the things that trigger something like sleep paralysis, hallucinations, and that there's no reality to what's happening or anything like that, it's not some hypnopompic hallucination or anything like that, in some kind of weird dream state. I would think that that would happen with everyone who gets no sleep and is stressed out all the time. Like I should be hallucinating nonstop all the time forever because I am stressed out all the time and I get next to no sleep as well. You know, like why does it happen for some people and not for others?
I don't think it's as simple as that.
You think it's a brain chemistry thing where people have different triggers for certain things or what?
I just think certain people are more susceptible to it. In this case, though, there was something this person mentioned that made me think of brain chemicals when they were talking about afterwards how lonely they felt. That
like drains you.
Like you use too much of your dopamine or something like that, and then afterwards you kind of get that like feeling you might have after. Some people will say after certain psychedelics. And it's just, so it's maybe some of us release different brain chemicals at certain times in this case when they're sleeping or on the edge of sleep that causes them to maybe hallucinate a little bit, or something's actually there.
I know there are a lot of, and I don't think we've ever done an episode or anything on it, but like energy vampires or like spirits that feed on your fear or whatever. And if you run into something like that, I would imagine that after that, you would feel drained.
Right. You would
So
allegedly feel drained.
you would allegedly feel drained, or physically, or exactly, or reality.
You might feel drained, but the causes of you feeling drained should be up for debate.
As they are. What do you think? You let us know. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, what would that be called though? What is those? It's not energy vampire, isn't there? Like an actual entity, like a name for. Someone help me out here. I can't think of what it's called, but maybe it is just energy vampire. But things that just feed on your fear.
I'm sure there's a name.
Fear eaters.
There's a name for everything.
Is it fear eaters? That sounds kind of cool. The fear eaters. Is that? I don't know. Sounds like it might be a children's soccer team.
Wasn't that a Disney movie? Monsters.
The fear eaters. Are you thinking Monsters Inc.?
Yeah. That was
that is kind of the plot of Monsters Inc., isn't it? I guess there's a name for it. It's called a children's movie. Interesting. Well, that I guess does check out in its own weird sense, and that's fine too. But I don't know. What do you think of that?
I think a lot of things. I find sleep paralysis fascinating. I find it more fascinating that so many people believe that this little thing, this shadow person or whatever, is an actual thing. In this case, I mean, it would be different if you're just sitting there and you look over and there's a shadow person in your corner.
Yeah.
But when you're sleeping, you really can't trust what's going on.
Yeah.
In your brain or outside of your brain, because you're kind of in an altered state. So it's interesting. This person didn't do it. They kept calling it a hallucination. Yeah. So,
but weird if it's like the physical act of seeing something shaking your bed is a little harder to put into a hallucination stage, like
I feel like it's not, because I've had, and you probably had them, where you have those dreams of falling and you wake up bouncing on your bed and it seems like you like fell out of the sky and started bouncing when you probably just tightened your muscles and
spasmed.
Yeah. The springs on your bed made it feel like you're at the end of a bounce, but
yeah, I have those with, it was one dream in particular, crossing the street on a bike or whatever, and a semi comes and hits me. Those like snap yourself awake things where you literally feel like your entire body spasms right before you wake up. But for the most part, I don't know, man. Like I've had sensations and stuff when I'm falling asleep, especially in our room right now. There's times, and I'm not sure if it's China moving her legs at some point, and it's just a weird, like it affects me on the other side of the bed weird or what, but there's times I'll be like on the cusp of falling asleep and it'll feel like a cat or a dog jumping on the bed, a sensation where it's just like a quick like boom, and then like they walk across the legs or whatever. I get that so many times that I'm like, there's no way that I'm feeling this based on just her moving her legs in some way.
I have a theory for that one. That's not, you think it's a dog or cat, but what it is the ghost of a rabbit that got flattened down the street.
Oh, I saw that one. I heard that one. You want terror in your heart for the rest of your life. Listen to two rabbits playing in the street. One of them gets run over by a car and the other one runs away screaming its head off.
That is, rabbit screaming is horrifying,
traumatic, to say the least. And it was the dead of winter, so it's fucking dark as hell outside. And I just hear, and the sad thing, it looked like the car intentionally hit it. So now we know we live next to assholes as well. Yippee, isn't that a treat? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. What are your thoughts on sleep paralysis, huh? You have any crazy stories of your own? Send them into the gang at thefreakydeaky.com and we will look into them. And by look into them, I mean exclusively read them and nothing else. And share our stupid thoughts on them.
I will hypothesize.
He does hypothesize quite often.
It's not demons.
It might be demons. They might be demons. That's a band name.
Yeah.
It's a cover band.
Like they might be giants.
Exactly that, yeah.
Did they sing Let Me Go On?
Sure.
Like a blister in the sun?
Okay.
I won't do the voice because...
Thank you. We all rejoice. And that rhymed. And this is over.